Hey everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tanner Watt. I'm a municipal program specialist with local authority services in Ontario. I'm going to be hearing today from James Monteith, the vocational sales manager with Navistar. He's going to be providing some information on their current and future plans for sustainable transportation with the equipment that they have available. The Navistar products are available through the Canoe Procurement Group, which helps to lower costs and simplify procurement for municipalities. We have a few other webinars scheduled for this fall. I'll put links to them in our chat box. They'll take you to our events page where you can look at what's coming and register. There's also a webinar coming up on November 30th with the Ontario Ministry of Transportation, and that'll be regarding some new funding for electric vehicle charging stations. So I'll put a link for that in the chat box as well. We are recording this webinar. We'll be sending out an email either this afternoon or tomorrow with contact information for myself and James, as well as a link to the video archive. We're going to use the Q&A feature built into Zoom for Q&A. So after James is finished presenting, we'll go through those. At the bottom of your screen, there's a little box that says Q&A. Click on that and you can type in questions at any time. We're going to be sending out a survey as well with the follow-up email. Please take the time to fill that out so that we can know that these webinars are doing what you need them to do. So with that, I will hand it off to James.
Great. Thanks, Tanner. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for attending and thanks for the opportunity for having me. As Tanner mentioned, my name is James Monteith. I am a vocational sales manager with Navistar Canada, and the focus and topic of our conversation today is sustainable mobility. So our agenda today will cover company overview, strategic product roadmap with respect to sustainable mobility, our zero emissions approach, and we'll conclude with some information on connected technology, both for our future vehicles, our current vehicles, our electric vehicles, and our total fleet in general. So Navistar Canada and Navistar as a whole, a lot has happened in the last number of years with respect to our organization, and a lot of good things have happened with respect to what that move forward looks like. So currently we are wholly owned by Traton SC, and Traton SC is the truck and bus division of Volkswagen Auto Group. So a strategic alliance has effectively been in place between Traton and Navistar since 2017. And both companies have mutually benefited from significant value through increased scale, commonality, and really integration of new technologies. The acquisition and the merger was completed in 2021 and really has created an industry-leading global corporation with respect to sustainable mobility and truck and bus transportation. Significant as well with respect to 2017 was also the emergence of really a clean sheet design, new global powertrain for the Traton family of companies. So Scania, ourselves, MAN, and Volkswagen Bus. And this new 13-liter diesel powertrain is a key component of our overall move towards sustainable mobility as we move forward to the next decade and beyond, and will be an integral part of how we engage our customers as we move forward. So for us in North America and Canada specifically, what does the merger mean? What does it mean for us from a customer's perspective, from a dealer perspective? Well, really what it gives us the opportunity to do is really leverage the global brand and partnership. So it allows us to optimize cost efficiency and group technology. So there are four key areas where we see that. So modularization, really modularization is commonality in parts, commonality in production, investment in our production and our production footprint to optimize what we bring to market and optimize how we bring it to the market. Certainly, we are going to definitely take advantage of globalization from a research and development standpoint, both from products that we bring to the market, but also the human capital that allows us to bring those products to the market. And certainly global scale in terms of purchasing and again, design and development. And really, what these four pillars will allow us to do is create new synergies and scalability, allow us to be more resilient to market disruptions and fluctuations, and to our customers, really allow us to reduce the total cost of ownership, specifically as we move towards electrification. So in North America, Canada, the US, and Mexico, our operational footprint looks as you see on the screen here. And I won't go down the complete list, but I do want to highlight a couple key areas. One, or a couple key locations, one being our world headquarters in Lisle, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. We have a e-mobility technology center, customer experience center in Rochester Hills, Michigan. And then the latest production facility to open in 2022 was our San Antonio manufacturing facility to support our full line of products. So our current lineup, as you see, is really the industry's most comprehensive, ranging from Class 4 to Class 8. So this lineup also includes our IC bus line, which is our diesel buses, and also our electric buses. And as I mentioned earlier, also incorporates our new integrated powertrain, the S13. So sustainable mobility, what does it look like? Or what is our strategy to achieve sustainable mobility as we move forward through this decade into the next? Really, it's centered on four key pillars. Sustainable impact. Really, what we want to be as an organization, as a corporation, is good stewards to the environment. We also want to create a really robust foundation for the future. So, what we mean by that is we want to invest wisely in digitalization. We want to invest in new technologies. We want to invest in potentially autonomous vehicles as we move forward. And really, we want to look to be using and leveraging technology to be a total solutions provider, to our customers. Profitable performance, one of the key areas to this strategy. We want to be profitable. We want to be a well-run, well-managed company that'll allow us to do a number of different things in terms of reinvestment into production, reinvestment into human capital, and ultimately reinvestment into employees, our dealers, and will allow us to improve and enhance what we bring to the marketplace. And key to that is certainly culture and leadership. We are working to really create a best-in-class culture and leadership in our organization. We want to work to empower our employees. We want to work to give our employees a high degree of responsibility, but also a high degree of accountability to ensure that they're making the right decisions on a daily basis for our customers, for our dealers, and for ourselves from a holistic perspective. So what does sustainability really look like to us? Well, we've set some lofty goals. Specifically for 2030, we want to achieve 50% zero emission vehicle sales. Beyond that, for 2040, we want to achieve 100% zero emission vehicle sales. So how do we do that? How do we get there? What does that look like? Well, really, there are a couple key components that we want to lean on and we want to leverage towards that path and our journey on sustainable mobility and getting to zero emissions and 100% zero emission sales. So what does that look like? We are leveraging and we want to leverage our global network. So with our sister brands, Scania, MAN, Volkswagen, under the Traton umbrella, we want to leverage commonality in technology. We want to share commonality in technology and have an understanding of what best practices can be shared and move from market to market where applicable. We want to be a leader in product development in terms of what we bring to the market from a combination of trucks and buses. A couple highlights for 2023, we will have achieved or surpassed 200 EV sales on the road. And more specifically, and a very notable milestone for us for 2023 was that we surpassed 1 million real world electric driven miles across all our brands for 2023. But we also understand that we're not in it alone, and we need to leverage and we need to rely on partners, specifically from a charging and infrastructure perspective. With that, we are working with a number of different charging companies to help facilitate the overall sale and scope for our customers. We also understand that how we approach our customers, how we talk to our customers, how we engage our customers with respect to electrification is quite a bit different than conventional and traditional, just by means of technology and how electric vehicles work, how they operate, and how they're supported. So with that, really, we want to focus on three key areas with respect to providing that support: consulting, charging, and deployment. And I'll touch on that a little bit later as we move through the presentation. So what does our roadmap look like? How do we get there? Where are we? What have we done? What's currently in the marketplace and what's coming? So if we rewind the clock a little bit, our first electric school bus was introduced to the marketplace in early 2021 into customer hands. Following that, our EMV, electric version of our popular MV, or medium vocational diesel model, was first introduced to the marketplace in the fall of 2021. Now, we also understand that, how we move to 2030 and 2040, we've got to broaden the scope and the range of our offering and our products, both with existing models that are available now in the marketplace, but also future scope and what's coming. So with that, we will be introducing in the coming years battery electric regional haul tractors for shorter distances and shorter applications with respect to range. But also, we are experimenting with engineering units for fuel cell electric regional tractors for longer applications, longer mileage applications. So we've got engineering units of both those vehicles in the marketplace in North America, going back to 22 through 23 and into 24 for the fuel cell, with the intent on bringing them to marketplace shortly. So what's on the ground now? What's available for purchase? What's in the marketplace? So our EMV series, medium vocational electric truck, is in the marketplace now. So a quick snapshot, a quick overview of what some of the specs, some of the dimensions, the wheelbases that are available in the marketplace now. And simply, without going down the entire spec range on the left-hand side of the slide, just want to highlight a couple of key components on our EMV. We have 3 levels of regenerative braking. We've got a fully digital instrument display. But with that, we've also spent a lot of time and intention ensuring that the electric version of the diesel truck has a lot of common features. So it shares common interior. It shares the same reliability, durability as our diesel version. It has comparable power, and it's built on the same line as our diesel. So from a manufacturing, from a production standpoint, we don't have a specific or unique line for this model of vehicle. To give you a little bit further glimpse on our EMV and just to highlight some of the differences on that, if we look at, and I just want to point out some of the key differences with respect to this vehicle. So looking at an elevated version of this cabin chassis, if we work from left to right, we've got the motor and the inverter at the tail end of the vehicle, behind the frame rails, behind the rear axle. As we move in front of the rear axle, we've got the high voltage batteries that reside between the frame rails. And then we've got a battery thermal management system that sits on the right-hand side of the frame rail. And what that does is that regulates the temperature and the condition of the batteries from effectively cold weather, hot weather. And really what that allows and what that device does is ensures the optimization, optimal temperature of the battery to maximize the efficiency and the lifespan of the battery. So continuing with what's in the marketplace today, these are different applications that are in service and are operating in North America with our electric chassis. So first introduced when we first brought this to the market, the low-hanging fruit is your basic drive van with a tailgate in different configurations. But since that, based on market demand, customer interaction, customer engagement, and really just the maturation of the vehicle, we've moved to mobile service bodies, we've moved to stake beds, we've moved to dump bodies and utilities, and we continue to see build out on the spec with respect to more industries and more applications where we see this particular vehicle. Specific to Canada, I'll just highlight a couple key customers that are currently operating EMVs in their respective marketplace. In Ontario, Utilities, Toronto Hydro, out west, NMAX, Recycle BC, and certainly in Quebec, Hydro-Quebec, our neighbors to the east of us. Some additional specs with respect to this vehicle: peak power, 335 horsepower, continuous horsepower is set at approximately 215, and battery capacity, battery range is set at 215 kilometers. And really how we arrived and where did we come up with 215 kilometers? Simply through rigorous testing. We wanted to be very realistic and very accurate with the range on this vehicle, bringing it to market, and certainly not overstate what the vehicle can, and in some cases cannot do. So certainly there are some environmental factors, some driver factors that may impact what that range is, but certainly from a sales perspective, and I'll touch on this a little bit as we move forward, we're actively doing things to ensure that our customers are maximizing the range on this vehicle through how the vehicle is driven, how we monitor the vehicle, and real world data and recommendations that we can bring to our customers through the collection of data on these vehicles. So our approach to zero emissions from a holistic and a customer perspective, we understand that the journey and the road to fleet electrification is not a one-size-fits-all. Customers are unique, cities are unique, municipalities are unique with their own stressors and levers, with their own pressure points and so forth. So with that, we really take a holistic and consultative approach to how we engage customers with respect to their electrification journey. We really take the stance and have an understanding that it's not simply about the sale of the truck. There's more to it. So we want to make sure that, as an organization, corporately and with our dealer network, we're really aligning with our customers to get a true understanding of what their needs are, what their expectations are, and how do we set our customers up for success with respect to electrification and what that looks like. Certainly, there are many different moving pieces when it comes to electrifying a fleet. So, with that, we take, again, a very consultative approach because there's more to the process than simply the truck. There's charging, there's infrastructure, there's understanding delivery, there's training, driver training, there's, for our dealers, service and maintenance training with respect to how you service this vehicle, how we maintain this vehicle. And then ultimately, we want to take a look at how we deploy this vehicle, again, to make sure that our customers, really maximize the success of this vehicle and they optimize the vehicle. So to do that and to achieve that effectively, we really are working to take the complexity out of the process. And to do that, we leverage and we lean on a very simple, defined 3-step process. So the first step, effectively consulting. So setting up an EV roadmap for our customers. And again, with an understanding that one size does not fit all for our customers, our cities, our municipalities, our townships, and understanding what the need is. So we take a look at the why behind electrification. We get as granular as understanding route analysis, understanding where the vehicles are going to be parked, where the vehicles are going to be domiciled, who's going to be driving the vehicles, and really, what the goal of electrification is for our customers with the end design or the end goal, if you will, of successful adoption. So with that, a key component to that is understanding the charging need, understanding the hardware requirements, understanding the infrastructure requirements. So where are customers at in that particular component of the journey? What hardware do they have? What infrastructure do they have? What existing charging do they have? Do they need charging? What conversations have they had with local utilities with respect to lead times and timelines to upfit their locations? Where are they putting their chargers? How many chargers they need? So a lot of moving pieces when it comes to, again, infrastructure and hardware and charging for these vehicles. But by wrapping our arms around our customers and taking a very consultative approach, we really want to, again, reduce the complexity behind this and really set our customers up, again, for success. So with that, final step, deployment. So we've got the vehicle in customer hands. So, with our dealers are fully up to speed with respect to servicing this, managing this, and supporting our customers after the sale. So we spend a tremendous amount of time with our customers understanding who the drivers are, driver training, service training, data that we glean from these trucks. So every single electric bus and truck that we have in operation in North America is monitored in law with our EV command center. So we're taking a tremendous amount of data off these vehicles, and taking that data, we want to compress it, compile it, and ultimately provide feedback to our customers in a very usable format to really help them understand how they're using the vehicle, areas for improvement, opportunities to maximize the return on the investment on these vehicles, and really ultimately reduce the total cost of ownership on these vehicles. So with that, there is a huge technology component to these vehicles that we want to leverage, and we want to maximize our customers, both existing and future, as we move forward with electrification and this journey. With that, brings us to connected technology. So from our perspective, we understand that the role of technology will be critical when it comes to our path towards sustainable mobility, fleet electrification, and even maximizing our new integrated powertrain from a diesel perspective. So a couple quick items and a couple quick components that I want to highlight quickly are on-command connection, and remote vehicle diagnostics, and our International 360, which is our service portal that we have with our dealers, our customers, and really the design behind that is to maximize communication, maximize transparency with our customers. So again, from a customer connectivity standpoint and understanding vehicle readiness, we really utilize on-command connection as a powerful resource for our customers, again, to maximize uptime and operational efficiency. So some of the information, the data that we're able to glean from this is, level of charging, how the vehicle is being charged, when it's being charged, and information that we can provide to our customers to maximize the charging cycle of the vehicle, to really maximize the lifespan of the vehicle, and understanding, what the best usage case for charging is. So, what I mean by that is, if a vehicle is going to be in operation daily at 7 a.m., ensuring that vehicle is fully charged by 6:30 in peak conditions, so that the driver and the operator effectively can get in the vehicle after doing their checks and so forth, and leave and do their route and their day-to-day business as they normally would with a diesel truck, for example. We can monitor state of charge. We can monitor driver behavior. So, for example, for driver behavior, understanding the difference between the different levels of regenerative braking. So, are there opportunities where we may have drivers and applications that are using level 1, where level 3 may be more beneficial from a charging standpoint, from maximizing, the route, from maximizing the range and the number of kilometers and miles that they can get off on a single state or a single charge. We also are able to perform vehicle diagnostics and remote diagnostics, health checks, understanding what's critical on the vehicle from a warning light, for example. So what needs immediate attention from a customer to a dealer, to what may not, and what can be handled remotely, or what can be handled in the next service. So those are some key components from a technology standpoint that help support our path to electrification, but really help to support all the vehicles in our fleet. So with that, as best as possible, try to keep it short, succinct, and to the point. So thanks for your time and attention. Tanner, I'll turn it back over to you to moderate any questions if there are. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, James. So we have a couple of questions already. If there's anybody else on the line who has anything, just click on that Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, type them in, and we'll put James on the hot seat to answer them.
Thank you.
First one, do your CV series ambulances comply with Ontario's strict outfitting requirements for ambulances, and are they available in Ontario?
Good question. The short answer to that is yes, but I would definitely recommend to the person who's posed that question, please reach out to me directly and separately, because there are some additional factors to support the yes or potentially no with respect to, what's going on the back of that vehicle from an application standpoint. Certainly what I can tell you from a support and engineering standpoint, we do have an engineering team specifically for fire apparatus on all our vehicles. So when we do engage, due to the nature of the typical of this type of vehicle, we want to ensure that we've engineered our cabin chassis precisely to meet the requirement, ultimately of the customer and the user, but we also align closely with the particular fire apparatus outfitter. So that was a little bit of a mouthful, but definitely I would recommend, please reach out to me directly, and I would like to get a little more information, and I can also provide you with a little more information too as well, pending the spec and what the application is.
All right, and the next one around charging. Are there charging networks across Canada to support these trucks, or are these able to use public level 2 charging stations like the ones on the en route highways in Ontario?
Great question. And so I guess I will tackle that a number of different ways. The first way I'll just simply say is that the level of public charging support for commercial vehicles for all OEMs is just simply not there. And excuse me, what I mean by that is, that's something that we, as an OEM with the other OEMs, are certainly working with respect to both federal and provincial to get an understanding of what the infrastructure looks like from a public standpoint to support these vehicles. So your typical chargers that you see at excuse me, some of these on stations and at the various malls and so forth around Ontario and nationally simply do not support commercial vehicles. Our recommendation is level 3 typically fast charge to minimize the time associated with charging these vehicles. Certainly, we recommend to customers, and this is part of the overall route analysis and understanding where these trucks are going and where they're operating, is to what the charging looks like. But we do, at this moment in time, highly recommend to customers and municipalities and cities that you cannot rely on public charging on these vehicles. These vehicles can support level 2, but the time associated to upcharge these vehicles, if you will, is dramatically different than a level 3 charger. And certainly, I would say, post call, to the question, happy to provide some additional and more protracted information with respect to charging, because it is a key component of the overall equation.
Great. All right. So follow up to that, would it be safe to say then that these vehicles should be used within a 50-kilometer radius of a work yard? Longer than that, potentially?
Yeah, potentially longer than that. As I mentioned, our range is 135 miles or 217 kilometers, but certainly that fluctuates based on a number of different conditions beyond our control, and the biggest one is weather. So the batteries, their range and their utilization, their maximization fluctuates based on temperature, and that's simply just a known fact. So again, what I would say to that is, and what we leverage and what we lean on is the consultative approach to understanding the customer need of this particular vehicle with respect to electrification. So again, understanding what the route is, understanding, the analysis of that. Certainly there may be some applications and there may be some distances where at this particular moment in time, not ready for it. And that's fine. And that's okay. We still want to have the conversations. We still want to have the discussions. We still want to have information sessions like these, because it's coming. We know it's coming. Our customers know it's coming. Certainly at the government level, it's coming, and the speed of which it is certainly starting to accelerate. So, that what I would say there is, again, we lean on route analysis, and we really lean on understanding what the customer need is, so we align with that.
All right, so we'll give it a few more minutes for people to type in their questions. I think an issue that we're seeing with a lot of both equipment, heavy construction equipment, and electric vehicles right now are supply chain issues, either for electrical components or the batteries themselves, or just equipment in general. So can you comment a little bit on how Navistar is doing in terms of sourcing batteries and how the timelines are developing?
Yeah, so certainly the last couple of years there have been tremendous headwinds from a supplier standpoint, both for us and OEMs and different sectors and segments. So we are cautiously optimistic with respect to what the future looks like and what 2024 looks like, from a supplier standpoint. Certainly we are very active with our suppliers when it comes to ensuring that we are getting the allocation that has been committed to us, the allocation that we need to manufacture trucks, both diesel trucks and electric trucks. So with that, certainly we've been able to leverage some of our relationships with our sister brands, and certainly we've been able to see some benefit with respect to the Triton umbrella from a manufacturing and a production standpoint. So with that, we again are cautiously optimistic that we're going to see improvements in the supply chain as we move through 2024 and close out this year. With respect to electrification, versus diesel, maybe due to just the volume of trucks that are being produced. We haven't seen any impact on timelines on the EMV and lead times that we have seen with respect to some of the other products that we bring to marketplace.
All right. Okay, so the next question. Do you know the percentage price premium for electric truck versus a traditional diesel truck? And I'll maybe add on to that as well. Are you able to help out with doing the life cycle cost analysis to see what the difference would be once you factor in the cost for those two different types of fuel?
Yeah, so certainly, from a cost of ownership and a life cycle cost, we have tools on our website where you can do a comparative with respect to diesel and electric based on application, based on size of truck, obviously EMV versus MV. So we've got those tools available on our website. Again, to lean on the consultative approach with respect to fleet electrification, that is part of the journey and part of the investigative process that we do with our customers and understanding what that looks like. And we also want to be, fairly realistic on what those costs are, really to ensure that, our customers have a good understanding of, what they're getting into, have a good understanding of what the expectations are going to be. And then, as I mentioned with that, with our EV command center, we monitor these vehicles. So, we're actively collecting data and taking that data to work with our customers to ensure that they're maximizing the operation of this vehicle. So, the simple one to lean on is regenerative braking. So 1 versus 2 versus 3, where the efficiencies are there in terms of optimizing the battery charge, optimizing range, and so forth. So we do have those basic tools that are available on our website with respect to analysis. What I would say from, a cost standpoint for REMV and certainly, the marketplace broadly, depending on the size of the vehicle, you're in a 3x range.
All right. Next one, do you see more uptake in different provinces, for example, BC and Quebec, given that they're a bit more advanced in consumer electric vehicle uptake?
Yeah, great question. And certainly we didn't really touch on it in the presentation just due to time, but one of the things that definitely impacts uptick is the level of grant and the level of funding that's available in Canada. So, part of the consultative process, we work with our customers and our dealers work with our customers to understanding, what grants are available to customers, both from just the cab and chassis perspective, but also from the charging and infrastructure perspective, because there is government money available for both. What I will say specifically to BC and Quebec versus the other provinces, both provinces have indicated that their intent is to follow the CARB regulations and the CARB mandates with respect to electrification. And, without going too deep into that, federally in the US EPA and at the state level, CARB, so the California Air Resource Board, CARB is certainly more stringent from 2024 to 27 than it is versus EPA. So again, BC and Quebec have indicated that they want to follow those mandates and those regulations. But I will say that there is federal grant money available for electric vehicles and specifically for REMV. It is a approved vehicle for reciprocation of that grant money. Now, both BC and Quebec also have provincial grant money that is available for electric vehicles. And our EMV is also approved in those provinces for reciprocation of that grant money. And you are allowed to stack those grants in those provinces. So 1 + 1 = 2 for a simple ease of explanation. The other provinces, we have not seen, the level of provincial funding to support this vehicle as we have seen in Quebec and BC. So I guess the short answer to that question is yes, but we are seeing, we're seeing growing appetite and growing engagement in conversation with customers. Both again at for the audience at the city and the municipal level as well as the private commercial level too as well. So I hope I tackle that question effectively.
All right. Well, with no further questions, I think we can wrap it up there. So as I said, I'll be sending out an email to everybody who registered for the webinar with our contact information on it, both myself and James. So if you do come up with any other questions, feel free to reach out to any of us. Navistar is part of the Canoe procurement group that's designed to help municipalities both save time and money on their purchases. If you have any questions about how that program works or how to get started with your municipality, feel free to reach out to either myself or Sarah Hubble with Canoe if you have her contact information already. Thank you very much, James, for taking the time. Thanks everybody who joined us today, and we will see you at the next one.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Tanner.